The surprising revival of the Mana series is probably one of the most interesting stories in JRPGs right now, as we just recently got confirmation of the release of a new game, Visions of Mana. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jade, there have been Mana games in the 2010s, right? But a lot of those have been Japan only, mobile exclusives, and in my opinion, I consider that to be symptomatic of a series that is by and large being neglected by the company that the series belongs to. With the last major releases for the Mana series being mainly congested in the 2000s. So I straight up just consider this to be a massive revival. The series is just bursting out of the soil like a fucking zombie and crawling up to the surface. It's magnificent. Michael Jackson's Thriller has nothing on this bitch. As I mentioned before, a lot of the releases of the late 2000s into the early and mid 2010s have been largely consigned to Japan only mobile releases, mobile MMOs and shit like that. But the fact that those were still being made showed that there was still interest for the series. I mean, it could have been absolutely worse. It could have been fucking pachinko rot. I feel like there's no fucking coming back from that. Also, if you couldn't tell, this is just gonna be a bit of a talky video. Nothing major here, just fucking around, you know, just horsing around. As for my personal knowledge, I don't really know that much about the Mana series, to be honest. I only have one game, and that's the remake that came out in 2018, which I played for 5 seconds and then left it alone. As I do. If you watch my previous video, I go into my own financial incompetence with video games, but that's neither here nor there. For a Western boy like myself, the Mana series has almost an ethereal quality. It's only spoken of by ancient boomers on the YouTube, the ancient scribes of old, talking about back in their day. The secret of Mana was a name worthy of being mentioned amongst the likes of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. But as a mere boy raised, a mere scribe raised in the 2000s, I never really got a chance to experience the series growing up, and so I don't quite have a strong attachment to it. However, when I fucking saw that Visions of Mana trailer, it made me want to go through every fucking new shit that has come out up to this point, cause damn, those ladies be looking fine, dude. It is absolutely astonishing that the series, even after this long, has managed to retain so much of its core identity and aesthetic. It's very impressive, actually, and it makes me want to try out the series even more and actually grab that old game I bought for the PS4 forever ago and actually attack it. In a lot of ways, it makes me feel like I'm a fucking video game archaeologist. Like, I'm dusting off these ancient records and looking into the ancient past of these video game empires and kingdoms, one of which being the lost kingdom of Mana, which has just resurfaced. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. This is a really interesting trend in the business game company sense, because what it does tell us is that Square Enix has become more and more open to actually digging up the absolute gold mine of franchises they're just sitting on and actually doing something with that. A lot of game companies just don't do anything with their massive backlog of games. Nintendo. And they just let that shit sit there forever. By far, one of the things I find to be really fascinating about the Mana series is that it's technically an offshoot of the Final Fantasy franchise. It started out as Final Fantasy Adventure and then evolved into its own thing. Reminds me a lot of the Trails or Legends of Heroes series made by Nihon Falcom, which started out as Dragon Slayer, but then progressively turned into multiple fucking series. I guess it just goes to show how creativity is almost like a tree, a mana tree, if you will. A tree that like sprouts different branches and different leaves, and how if you're willing to take care of and water that plant, you can have so many things sprout from that. So many new ideas and concepts that can make other people's lives more interesting and fun, as I'm certain that there are a lot of people who personally view the Mana series as their favorite Square Enix franchise. It's easy to take for granted if you're a Dragon Quest fan or a Final Fantasy fan, how many series that Square Enix has created and how many things they've just straight up forgotten about or abandoned in the past in favor of tunnel visioning on very specific franchises. Now granted, Final Fantasy is making them money hand over fist, but it's great to see a series that people love coming back to them, you know? Anyway, that's the main thing I had to say about this. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those crazy things. Tell me what you think about the Mana series down in the comments below, and I will be talking about the Visions of Mana when it does drop and come out, and about the general perception and reception that the new game has been getting. Anyway, thank you for watching or listening or whatever the fuck you did, and I will see you next time.